Your city just banned Airbnb. What do you do? How do you pivot? And how do you move forward in a direction that still allows you to thrive with your short-term rental business, even though you can no longer operate an Airbnb? I actually had an experience just like this, where 6 months into my lease, the city said, as of today, you can no longer operate short-term rentals. So how did I move on from this situation? So this happened at the end of 2019. I had just got a lease agreement on a beautiful property here in Southern California in the city of Whittier. And at the time, they didn't have a regulation. I started renting this beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,400 square feet craftsman home that had a beautiful backyard with the pool, cabanas, palm trees, and a really high-end custom-built barbecue area with TVs and everything. And around May of 2020, I get a notice in the mail saying that starting today, we can no longer operate short-term rentals. And again, this happened because there previously was no regulation. All of a sudden, they implemented a regulation, and now I can no longer operate. So again, I started renting this property for $3,000 a month. Of course, I spent over $10,000 in furniture, appliances, decor, supplies, photography, making this property look just beautiful. So what did I do in May of 2020 in the middle of what was going on? I started marketing the property to long-term tenants on Zillow, since I had permission to re-rent this property in the lease agreement. And I found a tenant who was previously living in a small 1-bedroom apartment with his wife and his 2 children, and they decided to rent this property, and we agreed on the $3,500 that I was advertising it for. So immediately I began to generate $500 a month in cash flow from a long-term tenant. So I started arbitraging a long-term tenant. The interesting part is this happened in May of 2020. Now we are, towards the end of 2023, and I still have this unit that I'm still arbitraging. So it's been over 3.5 years of me making $500 a month still today from that unit. And like I said, we probably speak to the tenant maybe twice a year, if that. So there is nothing to do. So let me know in the comments, would you be happy with making $500 a month from a long-term rental that you are arbitraging? So now the reason this worked out so good is because I was able to rent this property at fair market rent. And it's so important for you guys to not overpay the fair market rent. The fair market rent is the exact rent that a tenant would pay if they were actually living in the property. And so because I was paying the fair market rent of $3,000, rents continued to go up, over the next few months, especially during everything that was going on. And now I furnished it. Now it's way more valuable. Instead of them spending over $10,000 in furniture, they were just paying, $500 a month over of the fair market rent. Well, maybe the fair market rent at that point was in the mid 3,000, so they were paying maybe $200 to $300 over fair market rent. But now they got a fully furnished property, and they didn't have to put any money out of pocket. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you guys subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This way, you don't miss out on any future videos, and you guys can also create financial freedom just like I have. And that's the beautiful thing, guys, about running a short-term rental business, is that you as an entrepreneur are growing and evolving. Anytime things go in a different direction and the cheese gets moved, you gotta pivot, you gotta adjust, you gotta make changes in order to come out on the other side successful. And I've always said that as entrepreneurs, we actually learn more when there's challenges in the business rather than when everything is going well. Obviously, we don't want to experience a bunch of challenges, on an ongoing basis, but when things like this happen, you get wiser, right? I always say I'm either gonna win or I'm gonna learn. And in that experience, I was able to learn and I was able to win. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to add your questions in the comments down below. I always like to personally respond. And as always, make sure you guys like this video. My team and I put in a lot of hard work to put these videos together, from filming, editing, post-production. So again, we would really appreciate a like, and you could always share this video with a friend. Check out one of my other videos here before you guys go anywhere, and see you on the next one.